So the top three rules are, before you trade, before you take a trading call, you should know where your stop loss point has to be, right? So first thing is, like, how much stop loss level, what stop loss level you want to exit the trade, right? The exit level of the trade, whether you are positive or negative, both sides. Second is, the second rule you should follow is, you should know what percentage of risk on your capital you should take. It's not only the stop loss level. Now let's say you have $10,000 in your account, or you have $100,000 in your account. You should know what is the percentage. For example, 1% of the risk of your account. For example, if the account is of $10,000, if you want to lose 1% of that is $100. 2% of that is $200, let's say, right? So how many dollars or what percentage you want to lose from your equity, right? So that you should always follow, right? Because then you have enough equity left. If you put whole of your equity in a single trade and the trade goes wrong, there's no point, right? So then you should know before taking a trade, first is the risk point, where you will exit, and the level where you're exiting, how much percentage of your equity you want to lose at that level, right? And third is, what you should do is, when you, actually I'm not prepared for the third point.
That's okay. But that's your do's
So
and don'ts.
for me, these 2 points are very important.
That's
for
fine.
do's. So it's enough if you follow these 2 points for your do's.
Yeah.
Right? And for your don'ts, don't trade without stop loss. It's a very simple thing. As I told you, nobody follows here. Nobody. I think I have seen 90% of the traders, they don't put a stop loss, because when I ask them why there is no stop loss in your trade, they said whenever I put a stop loss, the market returns from there. So the first don't is never trade without a stop loss, right? And that's what I want to tell about the trade.
Lovely. Thank you very much, DJ. Roberto, your opinion on this one?
Yes, again, I would link the top 3 do's again to the way you approach risk. The first thing to do is to think about trading as something that you have to plan. You have to look at it as a business. No matter if you do it full-time, and many people have succeeded doing that, or just part-time, look at it as a business, as your side hustle, as they say in the US. So plan it and understand that you have to take some risk, actually measure them and use them to your profit in time. This is the first thing to do. The second thing to do, in order to do the first one, is actually getting the right tools, the right education. You have to educate yourself. This is why us as a brokerage, we are so focused on delivering such a kind of education from people that actually trade and continue to trade. I am still a trader. I still, advise my own startup hedge fund, and our chief analyst, which is sitting here, is actually an active trader. So this is another thing. Get your education and maybe find your mentor, because if you face uncertainty, which is the market, without that tool, you might, for sure, actually, find difficulties. Okay? The third thing to do, yes, it can be more practical. Apply those rules that you plan. So one of those could be set the stop loss. This is not just setting it in percentage, because it depends on the kind of instrument you use, and that's where the education will tell you how to do that. You have to understand how to size your position in terms of volatility of the single instrument. Actually, setting the same stop loss for each instrument is wrong.
Yeah.
You actually have to understand how much is the stop loss, and then calculate the position size in order to be within the rule of the percentage that you set. Don'ts. Don't get overexcited, and don't get too frustrated. The first one is when, especially novice traders, the worst thing that can happen is a winning streak. They will think they can beat the market. You are a business again. Your market is where you operate in. You are not there to beat it. or to show the market that you're smart. You need to make money out of it. Second thing, control your emotions. The emotional part of investing and trading has been mentioned many times, fear, greed, and etc. But there is so much more behind it. There is the part which is actually linked to behavioral science, so the biases of our mind, which in trading are amplified by the fact that you are facing uncertainty. We are tricked every step of the way from our mind. And if we don't know that this happens, then we don't know how to react.
Very true.
Last thing is what I could actually say to all traders. This is an exciting word, but be serious in approaching it. It's not a game. It's not for sure gambling. Actually, one of the biases is the gambler bias. The approach as a gambler. That's one of the biases which is driven from our biases, but that will take really a long time to explain. So I would pass the mic to my colleague here.
Lovely, thank you, very insightful. So Dara.
Cheers, thank you for that. I think the further down we go down the
It's
line,
going to get more difficult as you go down the
we run
line.
out of do's and don'ts left. Exactly, yeah. I think, like, to follow on again, and I think your point was very valid. Do remember that you're human. I think that is unbelievably key, and you see it in, no matter you're a professional trader, a retail trader, a novice trader. We're emotional, we're impulsive, and you do see it when clients trade, because as soon as a trade turns profitable, the first thing you want to do is seek to close it, click it out, and you do see, and as a broker, you see so many clients who close so many small trades with a small bit of profit. And when you, on the flip side, I don't, is you let your losses run. And I think your very first point, when you were talking about stop losses, it's the same type of thing. When you go in to do a trade, if you go to buy a car, you don't run out and go to the first one and you pick the first one you see. You do your research, you prepare, you check around to see what you're going to do. You have a strategy in mind. You know how much money you're going to invest. You know what you want to pay, and you know what you want to get for it. When you go to trade, it's the exact same process. You have to prepare, you have to do your research, you have to be educated and understand the market. There's no such thing as easy money. And you can't, the biggest hedge funds in the world, they make, if they make 20% in a year, it's the best year ever. And not people go out and they think I can make 10%, 20%, 100% in a week. And that means I'm going to make 1,000% in a month. This is the one thing that you have to be cognizant of, and as Roberto said, it's a business. You have to think it like a business. If you can make a 10% return in a year, over a whole year, then you're doing something very, very right. So there's lots of kind of do's and don'ts, in that, and I think you have to be practical. You have to, think about what you're doing. One thing I would say is you don't like to give advice, and you don't like to pick. Everybody has their own strategy, and that's one thing. You do need to have your own style. You need to have your own strategy. Again, there's a different stop loss for every instrument. I think that's so right. There's a different target for every instrument. Whether you trade FX or crude oil or indices, every single trade is different, and the reason to initiate that trade for every single instrument is different for me. It's different for you. It's different for you. Nobody else is responsible for your activities. And when you click to trade, you are now responsible. You can't turn around and say the broker did this or someone gave me advice and did that. You are ultimately responsible when you open the trade. You're ultimately responsible when you close the trade. And that has to be the number one key in your mind at all times. The only one thing I would say is add to a winning trade and never add to a losing trade. That's just my own personal how I would trade.
Lovely, thank you. I'm hearing it's a lot to do with mindset and emotions at the moment. Yeah, lovely. So what would you like to add to that, Mohammed?
So I believe they said everything, so I'll summarize it for you guys. So do keep your emotions aside, which is rule number one. Secondly, you should apply stop loss and take profit. And do have the right risk tools and the knowledge in order to enter the market. This is in the do's. If you go to the don't trade the news, because news is just history, so it's just repetitive. A lot of traders use on this because the market become very volatile. Do not risk your whole capital. Know how much you can risk of your capital in order to be able to be protected, and always use a hedging strategy in order to be protected. And finally, I will say, do not let a winning trade goes into a loser one, which is a lot of people do that. So you can have a profit in your trade, don't let it go against you. You can apply the right tools for it to put stop loss where you enter, because this is the market. You can lose, you can win.
Lovely, thank you very much. We can hand it back down. Okay, so the next